Hi, thank you for joining me in this video. I'm Matthieu from CYME, and today I will show you how the introduction of Luminar Neo workspaces in Peakto bring your interaction with Luminar Neo to a whole new level. Whether you're using Lightroom, Capture One, Apple Photos, or even folders to organize your images, the deep integration of Luminar Neo inside Peakto lets you edit any image from anywhere without losing your edits and without creating additional files that will be hard to manage. Let's see how. Luminar Neo is a great editing app with some unique features and a rich set of extensions. But it's no secret that it's not the best app to manage your images. It doesn't really handle large collections, and if you start splitting your content across multiple catalogs, then you lose that bird's eye view on all your content. So could you use Photos or Lightroom Classic to do the photo management part? Well, there's a flaw with that. Every time you make an edit in Luminar Neo from a photo that is managed by either Apple Photos or Lightroom Classic, those edits that you make get baked in to the image and you can't tweak them any further. You have to cancel and restart from the beginning. And we also think that such a great app as Luminar Neo also deserves the best in terms of photo management, in terms of search, in terms of AI-driven capabilities for organizing your images. Peakto fills a lot of these gaps, and this is what we're going to show you in this video. Peakto is available from the CYME.io website. You can download it for free, and it comes with 2 weeks of trial. So let's launch it. Peakto is an app that's designed to combine catalogs from various places and various sources. So I can just take a catalog that I have or a folder, anything, and reference it into Peakto. So I'm going to start by adding Luminar Neo content. I have some catalogs here. I just drag them into the user interface to take 3 of them. And what Peakto does, it's reading the content of those catalogs, the metadata of the images, the albums that might exist, and of course the previews that Luminar Neo has generated, if it has generated some, and displays them. So if I open the sidebar, now I have a section in the sources called Luminar Neo where all those catalogs are grouped. And I can click on any of them and I'm going to see exactly what I see in Luminar Neo. That is those thumbnails for the images with some information about them. If I open the inspector, I have a full view of the EXIF or IPTC information about those master or raw files or JPEG files, whatever they are. So here already there's something that's pretty convenient because I can access and view those catalogs from one single place. And on top of that, if I select the header, which is Luminar Neo, I'm going to see all the Luminar Neo content grouped together in that single view. So if you have many catalogs scattered around on your drives, already this is a big step, a big progress, because you can see them all together. And there are some very convenient ways to launch them. So if I just right click on a catalog, I can launch it in Neo, or you can even take an image and say edit with Luminar Neo, and it's going to launch Neo in the proper catalog and select the image ready for you to edit. I'm going to add some more content in my Peakto database, namely some folders with images and also some Apple Photos content. When Peakto ingests content, such as in the example here, it's not creating copies of your images. It's not touching the catalogs or the files that have been added. So let's see what happens when I interact with an existing Luminar Neo catalog, such as this one. I'm going to take this image I'm going to call Edit in Luminar Neo, and I'm going to remove the sky that I've edited in this image. So I go back to my edits. I'm in the Luminar Neo catalog, so I can access the edits that I've done. And I'm going to revert the sky to its original version. Or let's add another sky, like this one. Okay. So Luminar Neo has updated its thumbnail. I'm going to quit. And now there is a little icon next to my catalog in my sidebar telling me that something has changed. I can simply click on it and I can see that some changes were applied. And if I click on the synchronization button, I do get the updated version. It also works if Peakto is not launched. I'm going to edit this image. There was a sky that was added as well. I'm going to remove it. Okay. So the thumbnail has been updated. I'm going to quit Neo, launch Peakto again. And the same wheel appears here telling me that something has changed. I can just click on it and the image gets updated. So I can continue to work with my catalogs and they will stay in sync. In Peakto, when you double click on an image to see the detail view, if it's an image that's been edited in Luminar Neo, sometimes we don't have a very high resolution preview of the edits that you've made. So rather than showing you a deceptive preview, we show the original and we show the edits in a floating window. When the image has not been edited, we will show the master, the unedited master in full resolution. So let's suppose that you are using Apple Photos as your cataloging apps and that you use Neo as your editor. So here I'm looking at an Apple Photo image that I want to edit using Neo. So I'm going to use the edit and then launch Neo from inside Apple Photos. Now I'm in the Neo plugin, so to speak, inside Apple Photos. I'm going to perform my edits. Right, I'm going to do something fairly simple, convert to black and white so that we can see it. And I'm going to add some vignetting here. All right, I save my changes. Done. Now I'm back in Apple Photos and the image has been edited. Now let's suppose I don't like what I've done and I want to edit it further. So I'm going to edit again. This time again launch Luminar Neo and let's say I would like to change the crop or to remove the black and white that I've just added or alter the vignetting that I've done. Well, as you can see, the edits panel is empty because all the edits that I've performed previously have been baked in. They are not available anymore for me to edit them, to alter them. So I can start from that base point and add further changes, but I cannot revert what has been done. The only thing that I can do is I can revert to the original, in which case I lose everything. So I cannot tweak an edit that's been performed in Luminar Neo from Apple Photos. And it's the same for Lightroom. So this is one of the main problems of circular editing when you're using Neo from another app that serves as your catalog, such as Lightroom and Photos. And there's no other that can be used. Currently, you lose the capability to to do that circular editing or round trip editing. So let's compare what happens when I do the same inside of Peakto. So here I'm looking at the same photo library image. I'm going to go to Mediterranean here, which is the album that existed in photo where I see this image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the Luminar Neo workspace inside of Peakto. This is a new feature that comes with this release, and it gives the ability to do editing in an environment that's managed by Peakto using Luminar Neo. So in order to do that, I simply drag this image that I want to edit, and I drag it into my working catalog, which is a workspace catalog that is created by Peakto, and that is a Luminar Neo catalog where I can put my images and I can do my edits. The first time you launch it, based on the version you're running, you might have to upgrade it, but here it is. It's a catalog that currently contains just that image that I've added. And so how it works, I'm going to do the same type of change. Go to black and white, and I add my vignetting. Okay, so I quit Neo after I've done that, and now the working catalog is going to update, and I can see the edited image here. There are a couple of things to note. First of all, there is a little badge here that is new, and that tells me that I have more than one version of that image in my Peakto database. And that's true because I now have a new version, which is the Luminar Neo, but it started from I started from an Apple Photos version. So if I double click here, I can access those two images. So this is the Apple Photos, and this is the Luminar Neo. Remember that we display the preview in this little floating window. This is the original, and this is the Apple Photos version. So that's great. I can now keep track of the images that have multiple versions. And the Luminar Neo workspace also gives me access to all the versions that I have of any Luminar Neo image. So if I click on all versions, I'm going to see not only the version that I've just edited, but all the others that live in any catalog here. So it's like a shortcut for accessing all your Luminar Neo content. The last edit gives me access to the same content, but ordered by edited date. So I will see the last edits on the top. We can do the same thing with a Lightroom catalog. Let's say I take an image such as this one, add it to my working catalog. It's going to launch Neo with that image. It doesn't make any copy. It just adds the reference to that image in the Neo catalog. I can apply a preset. Let's take a preset that is this one. Okay, and I'm going to add some vignetting as well, just to make it quite obvious that I've done some change. So here is my new image. I can quit Neo now. Remember, this image comes from Lightroom. And now in my working catalog, I see this new version being added. And in that case, this image has 3 versions. There are 2 versions in Lightroom that are fairly similar, just different types of toning. And there is the images that I've just created in Luminar Neo. And I can go back to that. I can do edit with Luminar Neo. It's going to relaunch on the same image. If I want to alter any of the edits that I've performed previously, I can go, and they are all here that I can modify them. Let's turn it to black and white as well. quit Neo, and the image is updated inside of Peakto. So this is a completely different experience from editing from Lightroom or from Apple Photos, in that you can always go back to the edits that you've made, and you can keep track of the origin of an image. So here I can see that my image started in Lightroom, and then I have a version in Neo. And another great thing is that if I go to my workspace, I can see all my edits in the order in which I've done them. Using Peakto to launch edits in Luminar Neo from files that are stored in file hierarchies works great as well. Here I have a watched folder called My Rows. I can access its content here. These are just basically the subfolders in that folder. If I take an image, drag it into the working catalog, it's going to launch Luminar Neo for that image. Let's apply a preset. The image gets added to my workspace. Here it is. I can see that this is my Luminar Neo version, and this is the original file that still lives on my drive. So I can really catalog all my content that I have on disk using Peakto, and selectively launch Neo on some of the images. And using Luminar Neo to edit content that lives in catalogs for which there is no plugin is not a problem. Here I have a Capture One catalog. I can access its content, its structure, its date in order to find specific images, for example. I can take any image, drag it into the working catalog, and it's going to launch Neo for that content, ready for me to edit. And Peakto gets reflected with the updated content, and I have access to both the original in its catalog and the Luminar Neo edit. The last thing I want to touch upon is the photo management capabilities of Peakto. Peakto is designed to be a catalog. It has advanced search. It has a number of features that are not available in Neo. So if I look at an image here, for example, I have a very comprehensive access to all the EXIF, all the IPTC, and some of the AI scores that we compute for that image. I can create albums and smart albums to group my content based on any of that metadata. So if I, for example, create a smart album, I can base my filters on all the EXIF or all the IPTC fields that are available in my for that content. I have the ability to annotate, set ratings from the menus, or use the annotation tab, or even from any of the views I can annotate with stars. I can add titles. I can do a number of things that are normal in a cataloging app. I have search, standard search, such as, let's go back to all sources so I can see all my content. If I type something like 100, for example, I will of course see all the images that have a metadata field that matches whatever I've typed, so I can find all the images that were taken with that focal length, for example. And Peakto comes with a very advanced conversational search, where you can find things by describing them. So, for example, if I want to find images of a diver, maybe with bubbles, it will find that for me. If I want to find bird on a branch, it will find those images for me. Conversational search is very powerful, lets you describe things that are also sometimes concepts or places that it knows about. Peakto also comes with the ability to search for similarities. So if I'm looking for images similar to this one, or I want, for example, to search other images of my Great Wall, it will find content across all your catalogs, across all the data sources that you've indexed. This is the end of this short tour of Peakto in the context of editing with Luminar Neo. There is much more than we've just covered. There's a map in Peakto. There is a very innovative panorama view, which gives you access to your content automatically organized by category, photo styles, color harmonies, people counts, or features of your images. Peakto is extremely versatile when it comes to referencing content. You've seen that you can work with existing catalogs, you can work with content that is just in files and folders, or even content that is in any of our supported catalog types, such as Apple Photos, Capture One, Lightroom Classic. Regardless where your content lives, you never compromise on the ability to edit or re-edit images, go back to them, tweak the edits that you've performed previously in Luminar Neo. I hope this video helped you to understand how Peakto can bridge the gap between Luminar Neo and your other tools. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up. As always, the comments area below is for you to ask your questions or make your comments, and we'll answer them for sure. That's all for today. See you next time.